probably some other guys from the league that nobody cares about.
That's amazing. Well, so you are obviously listening to the Circle of Jerks. Thank you to Pete Skidmore for the new theme music. We gotta give a clap to that. That's brilliant. Everyone in this room except for myself has heard that for the first time. When you just heard it for the first time here on the podcast, reacting to it live here, it's pretty. Pete's dying over there.
I'm gonna keep laughing about this.
So you got the Bob Hartman next to Petar Lundstedt. You got the Raging Bonet, also known as Jer Bear. You got Never Trust a Guy with Two First Names, Tim Scott, and Matt Ferngully. So welcome. Oh, and I think we were all supposed to, in memory of Kurt not being here or something. But all right, I guess that one didn't stick. So you're listening to the Week 8 recap. Big week of hockey.
Really big.
The scores weren't all that close. Like, there were no one-goal games, but they all felt really close. Like, every game, I think, could have been decided by the last minute.
I think everything was really surprising this week. I love this week. This week was what I expected this entire season to be like, because you pick games that you think are sure things, and then ultimately it wasn't. And
What game? What game did you think was a sure thing this week?
I think pretty much every pick that I had felt like a sure thing.
That first game felt like a sure thing.
Oh boy, it was incredible. But and we'll get into each one of the games. But I think that's what I love about these games this year is that everyone is playing at 100%. Everyone is playing their full hearts out, their full passion, and you can see the anger at every single player of the teams. There's so much frustration, I think, more than any other year. And I don't know if we're going to see it again, hopefully with the return of veterans each season. But, man, you play at 100%, and it's just not enough this year. And that's what makes this week so exciting, because it wasn't enough for some teams, and you could see the frustration in them, and they still lost.
Yeah, the big crowd for the 9:30 game. Awesome. We hyped that game up a little bit, and I'm really glad that so many people stuck around, because there was like a championship atmosphere in there. And afterward, I think it was Kurt who said to me, he goes, it's so much fun playing when there's like all that stuff going on that I hope everyone gets like the chance to experience that, other than just like the championship games. I don't think I've ever played in a game that had that much hype in it. The only game I can think of is a couple years ago when Paul was on my team and we were the 8 seed and we upset the 1 seed, that I actually remember feeling that energy coming from upstairs.
Well, I think it really comes down to the fact that our commissioner has been doing this for a long time, and he wanted to hold that press conference, and the fact that he gave out free tickets to that game, I mean, what a charitable donation.
Bicep curls too, because he just flipped that table, right?
Flipped that table
like it was nothing.
I mean, the kid's in the hospital for a little bit longer, but he's going to be okay. I went to see him today. He's all right. He's one of Austin's good buddies, so Austin was there with him today. So
it's the children's hospital. Then.
Yeah,
Is that why that kid came with a boot yesterday?
Yes. Well, that was the thing. John gave him the suite so that he could watch the game. So, but definitely a really fun, exciting way to finish off the night of week 8.
Yeah. And another week of great attendance. Only missing 2 guys overall out of the 48 or 56, or how many people we have in this league, which is 48, which is huge. Yeah,
you're a stats guy and you don't even know how many people are in the league.
Well, now you guys know my secret. I just throw out numbers and hope people aren't paying attention. And then finally, just 2 housekeeping items. One is, if you guys want to be a guest on the podcast, just let us know. We're looking for people to guest. We're looking for people to come in, give their opinions. We want this to be inclusive. We want to hear from all sorts of different types of people, different opinions. The only thing we ask is that you try to be there for at least 3 of the games in the previous week if possible. But even then, we can make exceptions, and we have in the past. And the final thing is award season's coming up, so post in the comment section below who your nominations are for the various awards. I'll try to throw some of my own out there, for a template so you guys can see the different awards. But go ahead and post who you think should be nominated so that we can get to some more awards talk next week. Any other overall thoughts, or should we jump into the 6:30 game?
I think we should jump into the 6:30 game.
All right, Bonet.
6:30, we have the Public Enemy, also known as the Pubic Enema, with 11, falling to the Sugar Hill Gang with 13.
Whoa!
I'm not going to get too excited about it, but it was a good game. Public Enemy.
Well, you see, once they clinched that 8 seed, now they're actually starting to play, and now they're showing us what they can do.
Yeah. So, Public Enemy, Chris Enright, 2 goals, 2 assists. Tim Anderson, 3 goals, 2 assists. Matt Ferngully, 6 goals, no assists,
Boom!
and a game star. Shane, zeros. Lally, zeros.
Ooh.
Bill, 63 saves, 83% on the Sugar Hill side. Gianni, 4 goals, 3 assists, and a star. Kevin Baldwin, 2-2. Kevin Parker, 3-0 with a game star. Jeremy Bonet, 2 goals, 0 assists. Dave King, 2-2. Steve Schultz, 47 saves, 81% save percentage.
So I this is the game I did not watch. Honestly, I wasn't even trying to show up on time. I thought Johnny wasn't going to be there, and I was stuff I had to do. Let's just be honest. So I didn't see it. So I only have some statistical comments. So why don't we go to Jeremy? What are your thoughts on the game after getting your first win in the season?
Well, I'm going to say that I feel like this, as a team, was probably our best game.
Absolutely.
I feel like that weekend retreat really did us wonders.
Yeah, so what did Paul say to you, to change your mindset?
In the retreat when he was.
He was there. Yeah, that's right, the wilderness guy. He said that if you see.
Listen to the podcast a little bit more.
True story. I recorded and I never listened to it again. So.
Where Bob and I listened to it twice.
Yeah.
In one day.
So he said, watch out for leaves that have three leaves because it's poison ivy.
You never wipe with those.
Never wipe with those. He said that if you get bit by a rattlesnake, then you got to look for the guy next to you to suck the poison out.
Red on black, you're a dead Jack. Red on yellow, you're an okay fellow.
No, he didn't mention that. I think he wanted us to die.
Okay.
But,
well, you guys playing him soon?
Or there's no coil snakes in Canada.
There you go. Oh, perfect. I didn't even know that's from.
So no, I mean I feel like we definitely played the game that we needed to play. We slowed things down when they needed to be slowed down. We still lost the second period somehow. The second period.
But only by 2.
Yeah, the second period's been plaguing me my whole life. So yeah, I mean, like I said, we slowed it down when we needed to. We made smarter decisions with the puck this time, and I feel like we definitely took advantage and took control of the game and held on to it for the duration of the game.
I think from watching this game, there was one thing that I took away from, and I'd love to hear a lot from Matt after a couple of these comments, but back-to-back weeks, you guys played the 6:30 game, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so coming into this game, I thought you guys dominated the game from start to finish. I didn't think that Public Enemy really had control of the game, even in the second period. And I do have to point out that Chris got nailed.
Yes.
Nailed in the region that you don't want to get nailed.
In the genitalia.
Perfect. And he was gone. His team was down by 3 goals. And we're going down to.
Hold on, I didn't watch the game. Did he actually sub out?
He was gone.
He just left.
Left.
He
left.
out.
So
Literally,
for the first time in like 3 years.
Literally
he actually subbed out.
not in the.
I will tell you, because I did talk to him, he actually said it's purple.
Yeah. Purple. Like the purple people eat.
And I'm assuming it wasn't purple beforehand.
That's a good point. I mean, that's a really good point.
I'm not sure what his natural color is. I'm assuming it's not purple.
Yeah, but I mean, it looked like Grimace when he showed it to me. So it was really awkward, but I had to see it. So when we're going through this conversation, it was the fact that they were down by 3 goals when he leaves. Down by 3 goals. We're getting to 2 minutes left of the second period, and this team is down by a lot. And this is when Ferngully, Lulu, or whatever the heck you want to call him, this guy goes on fire. Scores a hat trick in the final 2 or 3 minutes of the period to tie the game. It was an incredible display. Normally, when you want to see your top scorer being the reason that your team is coming back, and Matt, you really came back and tied this game up. What was your thought process going into it when Chris leaves the floor to be able to still be able to come back and win this game or tie the game up?
So they sit there and say that there's turning points in every game. Chris went down and he walked out, and as Bob says, he doesn't sub often, and that plays to our advantage 99% of the time because the rest of us get the rest. But when he went down and he walked out, and I looked at the clock, and there was 6:43 or 6:44 left in the second period, and I was like, okay, this is going to be a rough second period because we were struggling. But last week I had a couple teammates and a fellow podcast member here say, shoot the puck more. So I said, okay, well, we're going to have to do that, and that's pretty much what I did.
Your shots were incredible. I mean, it wasn't just on point, but your passing was beautiful. You really controlled the floor to tie this game up, but back-to-back weeks at the 6:30 time frame, I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it's just there's no time to warm up, But it
Yeah.
seems like you guys came out with a different energy because 2 weeks ago you guys played the Roots and just completely dominated us from start to finish
Mm-hmm.
because you guys had so much energy. But what is it at the 6:30 time slot? I mean, you guys have had back-to-back losses.
I know I'm hungry for dinner and I haven't had dinner yet, so my energy level's
That's a
down.
factor. That's a real factor.
Well, the worst part is when you play the 9:30 game and you're like, well, do I eat before 9:30? Because if
Oh,
I
I
do,
know.
I might, chuck it up at
banana.
9:50.
Eating something light at 5:30. That's any game I have other than 6:30. I'm done.
I don't eat light.
And that's something that I would like to see is how many upsets do we actually see? And I think with this season, you can't really call it an upset, but just because there's so much passion on the floor, and I think everyone's playing it. But the fact of the matter is, it was a great game played by Sugar Hill, and it's not the fact of the matter that Chris left the floor for a certain end of the second period. Sugar Hill won the game. Sugar Hill won the game hands down.
As a member of Public Enemy, and I'm looking at this game, from all three periods, I'm sitting there saying it's not necessarily that we lost the game. They absolutely won the game. They had great shooting. They had great passing. They had great defense. The amount of block shots that Kevin was putting up was amazing. So, for Chris and myself, Tim, Shane.
You do have to look at the offense on Sugar Hill side.
Yeah.
I mean, 4-3, 2-2, 3-0, 2-0, 2-2. I was really impressed by both Kevins tonight because Kevin was really blocking a lot of shots. Kevin Baldwin, the guy that we always see as a defensive player of the year, blocking a lot of shots tonight, getting a lot of shots on net, passing the puck a lot. Kevin Parker was in the right place at the right time throughout the game. And then you're looking at Bonet, of course, 2-0, being in the right spot. Dave King, 2-2. I mean, you guys it was a complete team effort.
Yeah. And
from a statistics perspective, because I didn't see the game, those were my big takeaways. Is any night that you get a hat trick out of Kevin Parker, you're going to have a good chance of winning. And then we all have been talking about Dave King all season long and how he hasn't quite fit yet or whatever's happening. He's got 4 points on the night. That's the difference from a stats perspective. Was it the difference on the floor?
I mean, it definitely helped. Like I said, starting after that second period when we started losing the period, and even into the beginning of the third, we started to play frantic like we do in the second period, where we start to give up a lead and we lose our heads and we start running around.
Controlled this time.
Yeah. So basically, when that started happening, we called a timeout, and basically we talked to
timeout in second.
Yeah. We called the guys and we talked to the guys. We're like, listen, we're up right now. Like, why the fuck are we getting frantic? Slow down, take your time, make smart decisions on offense, play our game like we've been playing up until this point. And there's no reason for us to be dumping into the corners and chasing pucks and trying to force shit through the middle because there's no need to do that at this point of the game.
Can I get you to do a pep talk next time out we have?
Yes.
Because it sounds like that worked, and it sounds so simple. But
It costs $50 though. We asked them to do the timeout talk.
I don't get like Circle of Jerks discount.
No. But I think one of the funny parts is that Sugar Hill went 5-3 in the first period, and then the second period, Public Enemy went 5-3. Third period, Sugar Hill 5-3.
Yeah. I from the geek stats perspective, I thought it was funny. It was 3-5, 5-3, 3-5, and then I thought it was also funny that Bill Riley had exactly 21 saves every single period.
Every single period.
21 in first, 21 in second, 21
Who was
in
keeping
third.
stats?
Steve Kazmar.
Steve Kazmar.
Okay.
I think he actually did that.
21 3 times. Like,
Is that sarcastic silence, Jeremy?
He did that on
okay.
purpose. I think he did because he was hoping that Austin was actually.
He was gonna.
In his defense, he has an extra toe. That's 21.
That's why everything's odd
I just thought he was
numbers.
playing a lot of blackjack, but yeah. So and like you said, Matt, you're saying that Public Enemy didn't lose it, Sugar Hill won it, but you have 0 points from Shane, 0 points from Chris Lally. That can't help.
No,
After Shane goes 3-1 last week, right?
Right, and it doesn't help, but there were chances that just the defensive side of things. I know Lally had a couple shots where he was right on the doorstep of scoring probably 2 or 3 goals, and it would have been a different game if those had went in. So.
And Bill had an 83% night, which is normally not the best for him. I thought he was going to be way lower. I mean, the shots that Gianni was putting on him was at top.
76 shots on goal from Sugar Hill.
Yeah.
76.
Yeah.
Well,
they understood. He was on his knees since the start of the first period, right?
Something like that. But he definitely
from warm-ups.
Definitely robbed us on a lot.
Yeah.
He was great in goal, and I got to give a shout out to Steve Schultz playing his best game so far this season.
Very impressive.
And even a lot of the guys on the other team after the game were like, man, he wasn't giving up rebounds. He was covering the puck a lot better.
Maybe
So-
he's learned.
Well, that was one of my questions I was going to ask. Did he look as good as the
Yes.
stats say he
Yes.
did? Because this was his best statistical
Absolutely.
night of the
Absolutely.
season. And
Yeah.
you know, maybe I'm tooting my own horn here, trying to be a prophet, but we keep saying rookie goalies get better as the season goes on, and maybe that's starting to happen.
He looked really good. He looked
And I
really
feel
good.
like it's definitely the best game with us helping him out in front of him this
True.
week too. So
True.
Tim, from a goalie perspective, what did you see?
I only saw the last period,
Okay.
or
So you need-
some of the last period. He looked a lot more solid than I've seen him. He wasn't going all over the place. He wasn't backed into his net. He was coming out, cutting down the angles a little bit. And again, his rebounds, he was covering,
Yeah.
cutting out his rebounds, which is huge.
Yeah, I mean, in this league, rebounds.
Someday I'll learn.
wins.
Well, it's the freeze too. I mean, I think he's really understood, and we've talked about this in previous weeks, is that the freeze is so important, and he's really starting to understand that I need to freeze the puck as much as possible. So, great game.
Are we? I don't have any game stars because I didn't watch it. Any disagreement with the stat keeper on your game
No.
stars?
No.
Okay, 7:30.
7:30, we have the Wu-Tang Clan falling to Run DMC. Wu-Tang with 9, Run DMC with 11. On the Wu side, Joe Gant, 2 goals, 5 assists, and a hat the whole game. I think Conco's starting to get to him.
No, not the whole game.
Oh,
He took off the hat, and the hair was phenomenal.
How many goals or assists did he have when it was off compared to when it was on?
He took it off middle of third period, I believe.
All right, so that doesn't bode well. That's just
he
one
needs
assist.
one assist. John C., 6 goals, 0 assists, a penalty minute, and a game star. Kyle A., 1 goal, 0 assists. Steve K. blanks the Bob, 0 goals, 1 assist. Alex, 48 saves, 81% save percentage. On the Run side, Zach Davis, 5 goals, 4 assists, and a game star. Brian D., 3 goals, 0 assists. Rob Maston, 1-1. Chris the Mask, starring Jim Carrey, 1 goal, 0 assists, and a penalty minute. Jerry Wagner, 1-1. Ramsey, 54 saves, 86% save percentage, and a game star.
Oh my goodness, that you know what? You never disappoint, JJ. I'll start out on this one because I played in it and lost. The number one point on this one isn't a stats point. It is they were more intense than we were. They came out hungry. They came out, you know, all the friggin' sports cliches that I hate. But they wanted it more, whatever the hell that means. They were more intense. And honestly, part of my game plan, I was talking to Chatterton about it beforehand, and both of our game plans were going to be not intense. Like, we actually wanted to be a little bit more cerebral, a little bit slower, a little bit more calculated. And it completely backfired in that. Well, for me at least, he scored 6 goals. But for me, it backfired, and I think for the rest of the team, as I was trying to calm them down, it backfired because we might have been better off trying to match Run DMC's intensity. I mean, they were just like foaming at the mouth.
But that's the thing that I think you guys were so successful in the start of the season is that your passion was matching every game that you played in, and I just didn't see it in last night's game, and that's one of the things where I'm just so impressed by a Zach or a Joe, where they seem to play, you know, like 60-70% of their actual style, but when they want to freaking win a game, they're going to win the game.
Yeah.
They're coming out and they're going to win a game. Where Paul every single night, and this is the reason that Paul is the number one pick every single year, because you know every single game he's going to come out, he's going to play 110%.
Yeah.
When you get me, you're going to get 110%. And my 110%, it doesn't even match what Zach's is. I mean, Zach came out and he's like,
Zach 60%.
I'm going to win this game. I'm winning this game. And he said it in last week's podcast, and he came out and he did it.
Yeah.
With 5 goals and 4 assists, he knew that he was going to win this game, and he took over. He took it over. It was just an incredible display of athletic ability, and he just wanted to win.
And Zach wanted to win, and he scored 5 goals and had 4 assists. So in terms of the stat sheet, he definitely had that. But I think it's his impact. Maybe I'm overstating Zach. Maybe it's the whole team wanted it because the whole team came out firing. Like, I was actually saying, I don't remember who it was, but I was saying afterwards, this is the first time that I can remember all season long that I was being guarded tight. You know, usually you can kind of let me go. You can give me a little bit of space. I'm not going to hurt you, you know. But they actually, like, JJ was on my hip, and Masakowski was all over me, and it was just like, I don't even have the puck. Why are you guarding me?
Who's Masakowski?
Magic, the Mask starring Jim Carrey. And that's how intense they were, is that they weren't giving the worst guy on our team, me, any space. And so, and top to bottom, they were just, and friggin' Ramsey. I mean,
86%.
and it's not,
huge.
86% might not even sound that great, but
This
I
year.
said
This,
after the
this
game,
season, that's
This
a
season
lot.
was.
Zach had 5 and 4. I think Ramsey won the game for them. I really do. I think Ramsey, he made some saves that he shouldn't have made. He was in the right position. He was playing confident. He was playing with a chip on his shoulder. And I told him after the game, I said, you won that game. I really think Ramsey was the difference.
He wanted it.
When Ramsey is on, you need to overwhelm him. And his team didn't let you overwhelm him.
No, that's
And that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, they were shadowing Joe. They were frustrating Joe. They made the rest of us beat them, other than Joe. And John put up 6, but the rest of us fell short.
The other thing is that's probably one of the fastest first goals I think we've seen in this league.
Oh my God.
It was within the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, you couldn't blink. Yeah, right off. I don't remember who scored. I think it was.
I don't remember who scored it, but it hit Alex 5-hole, and it was within the first 30 seconds of the game.
Yeah, it was immediate. There was nothing else to do. Alex had an 81%. Not great for him for the season perspective, but I thought he played well. And I don't think any of those goals went in that were his fault. It was all just Run DMC making better plays. And we only allowed 11, which in this season isn't a lot. We got to score more than 9, and when Kyle, Steve, and I combine for 1 goal and 1 assist, we're not going to win.
That definitely hurts. But, I mean, I think to the point that, Joe with 5 assists tonight is definitely huge. And John follows up with his, 7-goal outing last week with a 6-goal outing this week. I mean, he's definitely feeling it. When he gets a goaltender that he can beat, he's just shooting the puck and getting in the right spots. But
he had some great shots, dude.
Beautiful
shots. Side, picked his spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a tough loss for you. But we were talking about it last week, and Jeremy, I think you pointed out, is that Wu-Tang is really starting to see the inconsistencies that's really hurting them.
Yeah, and again, just to go back to another thing that I said last week about the Run DMC stat, where I felt that they were the team with the most games where everybody recorded a point. I did some fact checking on that today, and it's true. 7 out of the 8 games that they've played, everybody on their roster has had a point. 7 of 8. The next closest, there's 4 teams at 6, and then a couple teams at 5, or I think a team at 5, a team at 3, and a team at 1. But when you get production from your team as consistent as they do, where everybody's contributing in some way, they're a tough team to beat any night of the week. And then if you're just letting them run and wear you down like they did against Wu-Tang last night, most teams in this league aren't going to stand a chance against the way that they played last night.
Well, and that's the difference. You made the point that this isn't the first time that they've all scored a goal or had a point. That's the point you're making, is that they're very well balanced on offense. The difference this time, and maybe last week, is their defense and their goaltending. If they get that kind of defense and intensity and goaltending to match what is going to be a consistently productive offense, you're screwed. You're not going to beat them.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I was really concerned about with Wu-Tang was the fact that you guys didn't seem concerned about the loss, and I'm sure inside you guys really felt the loss, but everyone else is really hurting from their losses this year. You're looking at the future games at Paul and my team. You're seeing the teams that have lost a lot. They're really feeling it. They're really frustrated with the teams, and I don't think Wu-Tang has felt that enough. So to me, I think this is actually good for them to start losing.
I actually agree. I think the loss to Furious 5 hurt more, and honestly, the win against your team last week hurt more physically. But also, for me at least, I can't speak for the rest of my team, but for me, that was more damaging to my psyche was the overtime win against you guys last week. In terms of just like how I felt like we played as a team, I just wasn't proud of it. I wasn't proud about the way that we handled ourselves. I didn't feel good about just the quality of hockey. This week, it didn't hurt that much for me at least. Like I thought, okay, you know what? I agree with you. I'm actually kind of glad we got it. Let's take the target off our backs. Let's stop being the unanimous pick from the circle of jerks. We've been the unanimous pick to win the game like 4 times so far this season. The only team to have a unanimous pick more than once. And you know what? We still have a shot at number 1. We have not an easy, but a good shot at number 1 still. It's not easy. It's not easy. I shouldn't have said easy, but it's we still have a good, legitimate, like not a prayer shot at number 1. Let's regroup and refocus.
We don't have that shot, just to be clear, right?
No, you're
Okay.
you're locked in.
You're close.
I mean, you know,
Well, you have a shot to play number 1.
Oh yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yes.
you have a very, very good shot of playing.
I was like, we can recheck the stats.
I'm gonna
honestly,
I'm gonna
though-
doctor the shit out of those stats.
But honestly, I don't even care that much about the number 1 because what is it? It's okay. You might be playing Sugar Hill Gang, who's
Right.
starting to come into their element, or you might be playing Run DMC, who just lost to, or you might be playing, Public Enemy, who just took us to overtime.
This year it doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
So I think that's part of the reason that I don't feel so bad about this loss. Is like, all right, let's figure out what's broken and let's get on a run for the playoffs.
And that's the crazy part is that people that have lost 3 or 4 games in a row were saying the same thing. Every team is saying that exact same thing. This playoffs this year is going
It's
to
gonna
be
be
scary.
bonkers.
It's
It's gonna be
going.
bonkers.
There's no easy game. There's no easy game. It was a great game that everyone played. It was exciting to watch. But the fact of the matter is, Run DMC gets a big win. Run DMC gets a big win that they thought that they could win, and they're moving on. They get the big win so that they're not dropping to the 8th seed.
Yeah, I want to mention, going out of the second period into the third period, you had 10-8 game, so it really could have been anybody's game going into the third period. Both the goalies took it over. You had 18 shots against Alex and 21 shots against John. So highest shots in any of the 3 periods, and there was only 1 goal by each team. So the goalies took it upon themselves to stand on their heads and.
Yeah, I had a
the
note
game.
here that Alex just totally stood on his head in the third period.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I completely ignored the fact that Ramsey had 21 saves and only allowed 1 goal. He's already saying his praises, but that's great. The other, just kind of a note here, maybe it'll come up with someone's play of the week. Rob Maston scored shorthanded on us, which
Yeah.
is awfully demoralizing.
Yeah.
There's so many
Yeah,
plays
we-
of the week this week.
And the referee was terrible. Just so you're aware.
Awful.
I blew the call. Probably the worst blown call I've had all season.
People here might disagree.
Not according to Pete. according to Pete, it was this last week and the week before.
Maybe the third worst.
But yeah, it was.
And you know what? It happens, and it's a 2-goal game, and honestly, like maybe it shows what our demeanor was about, like, okay, if we lose, we lose, because you came to apologize to us, and we were all like,
Yeah.
that's all right.
I know, but I like to. If I know I screwed up, I always apologize. But
that's the beauty of you reffing. Is like you screwed up, but the play still fucking stood.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
and
that's
that's
the
what
call.
I want. I want that in a ref. You screw up, you stick with it, you own it, and you move on with your life. It's not a wishy-washy. Well, I don't
it's
know.
not like you can really hide it.
Yeah, well, that's true too. Yeah, it'd be hard to switch that call because blew a whistle dead. But
Yeah.
all right. I agreed with you on the 3 game stars. Any disagreement on Chatterton, Zach, or Ramsey as the 3 game stars? Nope.
Yeah.
All right. Consensus 2 straight, Monet. You gonna keep it going? Go 3 for 3?
Doubtful.
100%.
I've never gone 3 for 3 on anything. Okay, 8:30. We got the Roots losing, excuse me, to NWA. Roots with 11, NWA with 16.
Surprised.
On the Roots side, we had Pete with 5 goals, 0 assists, and a game star. Austin, 2 goals, an assist, and a gaggle of fans in the stands. Dang,
Gaggle is more than 1.
Dang with a goal and 0 assists. Andy G, 3 goals, 0 assists. Alex subbing in net, 47 saves, 75% save percentage, doing his best Kent impression. NWA. Mike Bryant, 6 goals, 2 assists, and a game star. Mike Sturgis, 3 goals and assist. Steve Newberry, 1 goal, 1 assist. Jamie H, followed by a plethora of letters, 2 goals, 1 assist.
Plethora. That's a $10 word.
Dave,
Is that more than a gaggle?
a few more than a gaggle, a little bit less than a clusterfuck. Dave, inaudible scream Fos, 4 goals, 3 assists, and a
What?
game star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's on fire.
Conco, 52 saves, 83% save percentage. I don't know if I went through the whole game stars. That's Pete, Mike Bryant, and Dave Fos for that game.
So Pete, do you want to start us out in this one since you played in it?
Dave Foles had 7 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and I'm pretty sure he yelled
hold on,
a
let me-
bologna sandwich.
Yeah.
say-
he was-
you played in the game. You got an email with the stats. You have a write-up for the podcast. And you're just now figuring out that Dave Fos had 7 points.
That's,
Yes.
That's Strachan-esque right there.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I mean, here's the thing. First off, I know you mentioned the Alex and the Ken-esque. To me, Alex was a huge help for us. Alex is such a great person to have as a sub this year. This guy is a great goaltender, and I'm so excited
Tell me
about
about
him. He's awesome. He's an awesome goaltender for your game. This is a guy playing back-to-back. I sent him a message asking him to play for us, and he was like, I'll do the best I can, but I was just so excited that he said yes. I mean, he's definitely doing well, and I'm just so happy for him, so I wanted to put that out there, but man, we cannot stop the freaking shots. We talked about this time and time again. To me, I was going through the game and I checked the stats at the end of the night for myself, and then I looked at Austin. I thought Austin was easily going to be the game star of the week for our team.
Yeah, watching the game, I was surprised to see 2-1.
I couldn't believe it. I thought he easily had five or six goals along with it. I could not believe it because the guy was just throwing down, and I think that's one of the most exciting parts about having someone like that on the team with me, is that I'm just trying to stay back because Steve was so heavily guarding me that I was just like, all right, Austin, just go and do your thing, and then he only has 2-on-1 on the night, so that was really frustrating. But this was the reason that I was so scared about NWA in the beginning of the year, was because from top to bottom, they are such a strong team. I mean, Dave Foes was their 5th round pick, and he comes out and grabs 7 points on the night.
7 points for your last round pick.
Which kills us. Every single person had at least a goal and assist on the team. I mean, they killed us. They came back. A huge redemption from the 17-7 loss where Mike Bryan was there. They had a motive to play with, and they just beat us. They just outplayed us the entire night. It was, I think, 10-9 at the end of the second period, and we had nothing. We had no answers in the third period. They just outscored us, and they just dominated us.
Which has to make me wonder, would Ian have made a difference there? Because, it didn't look like you guys were dragging in the third, but anytime I see a team playing with only 1 sub instead of 2, and then lose the third period 6-2 like you guys did, it raises the question, at least, of would an extra sub have made a difference?
I don't know. I mean, I've been trying. I'm at a point where I'm playing on Monday nights and I'm playing on Tuesday nights to prepare me for Wednesday nights to just get the energy going. But I was exhausted. I was exhausted, and I was barely running. I was trying to take so many shots on net coming into this game. But to me, one of the things that I got to point out is I know that Conk only had an 83% save percentage, but there were so many big-time saves that he had on me, he had on Austin, that took the game away from us. I was frustrated. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I think I actually saw Austin look slightly down, which I think, means he's frustrated. He doesn't show any emotion, but he looked like he was like...
I take his frustration.
Yeah. Oh, no, he had plenty for the both of you.
Yeah, I slammed my stick on that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, you guys are...
I just wanted to
good. But Pete, it's funny that you'd say that you were tired because I thought the third period was your personal best period out of the 3. You willed in the 2 goals you had in that third period. You would get blocked, and you would take it again, and it would get stolen from you. You would take it back, and you would you did your best Paul Paradigm impression of anyone in this league.
I
Except for Paul Paradigm, of course.
I know that guy.
That's the impression.
He's really good. And I think that's the difference between Paul, Zach, Joe, and me, is that they have such a next level that I think at some points that I can compete with it, and I want to win so bad every single game, and it goes back to the point that I made in the beginning of this podcast, that I want to win so bad. And this is so frustrating for me, going back to the point that I made about Kevin Baldwin only losing 2 games coming into the season, in the regular season, is that this is my first 3-game and 4-game losing streak that I've ever been a part of, and I'm a young guy in this league that it's so frustrating. These guys that have been part of this,
it gets
It's
easier.
easier.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, is that you guys have been part of this league for so long that it's so frustrating for me. And that, when Tim makes a call that I understand is the right call, I'm screaming at him. I'm cursing at him. And I have to apologize after the game. I have to apologize again, Tim. I always yell at you. But the fact of the matter is he makes those calls that are so difficult to make because he's a good rep. And coming into this game, I felt like we had a chance. Every game these past few weeks, I felt like we had a chance to win, and we just lose it.
So
I don't think you called me a good ref during that game.
No.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't the expert of the
It's
Yeah,
another
but it might have been
4-letter
something
word,
under
but
his
not
breath.
good.
yeah, he probably said that under his breath. Like,
Yeah.
good
I'm
job,
a
Brad.
bad
You're doing
sportsmanship, guys. I hate losing. I'm a dick. I'm sorry. But the fact of the matter is, I know Tim's the best ref I've ever had in this league because he calls it fair. He calls it not just fair, but he calls it consistent across the board. I mean, that's what we need across all refs. So.
I don't want to get too much on a sidetrack, but I got to bring this up.
Mhm.
What were the worst teams you guys were ever on? I think, Jeremy, you and I were on the Islanders together, so that might have been the worst
I think
That was
that
my
I think the Islanders would have had a shot at beating my team last season.
Who was your team last season?
It was me, Galuli, Newberry, Chris Masikowski,
We went over.
and Pat
Oh, I
Cousineau.
forgot about
With
that.
Pete Magoo and net. I feel like Pete Magoo and net would have been tough to score on. for
That
our
was the
team
Mark
as
debacle.
Yeah.
Was that your worst team in two, Bully?
Yeah, and I unfortunately was the captain of that team, so I put it together.
I told
Nice job, man.
Was it Vandals 2.0?
It's a nation of
we would have beat.
There is no
We would have.
second
We would have
chance.
beat the Vandals, but I think we would have lost to the Islanders.
Yeah, let's not get crazy here. We would have beat the Vandals. What
But-
about you, Tim?
and-
Honestly, the way I play, and I don't know if you guys see this, Matt, I don't care if I win or lose. You never see me get mad about. You
Yeah.
never see me get mad about a loss.
All right, he's kicked out.
But he doesn't though, and that's and I think
I
that's
don't.
You're a veteran.
And anybody that's ever played on a team that I've been a captain of or I've been on, my whole belief is, I want to go and play with a bunch of guys that I'm having a good time with. I don't want guys yelling at each
That's
other,
why it doesn't
bitching at
make
each
you a
other.
dick.
I didn't know you either. But
Okay.
you know, like I've had Paul a couple of seasons, and you know we get along great, and he's got the same philosophy. I just want guys that I want to be able to play with and have fun with, and I don't want guys yelling at each other, swearing at each other,
Yeah.
you know, blaming each other for everything. It doesn't make it fun, and that's what I'm here for.
No, that's right. I've actually been on some good teams in the past, outside of hockey, where we were one of the best teams. Everyone was down each other. It's like, you know what? This just isn't fun. I don't want to
Right.
show up. I don't want to do a podcast afterwards and spend hours of my time like analyzing the stats.
And not to shit on my team last season because I feel like
You've been
Galuli
doing a lot of shitting on teams.
shitting on everything.
Yeah,
But,
you might want to check your diet.
Yeah, probably. What diet?
It's a lifestyle.
But anyways, I feel like Jaluli moneyballed it when he picked the team, and I don't want to say we had bad players. We had individually good players. It's just it plays so much into chemistry, and that's why chemistry in this season in particular is so important. That
Yeah.
we didn't have the right makeup.
Look at a Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
I mean, they were year 8 overall preseason, Pete,
Oh, yeah.
because you look at the team and there's no superstars, perhaps, but that chemistry, man.
And they all run, and we'll get to it when we get to the next game.
Yeah, I'm
but
sorry. I took us down a
it's-
rabbit hole.
The thing is that NWA, the fact of the matter is, this is the reason that I picked them so high in the beginning of the season, because that from top to bottom, I think they're all good. They're all playing really well together. They get frustrated. Mike Sturgis broke his stick at I think one point in the second period, and Conco called him out for it, but they all calmed down. They understood that, hey, listen, we just got outscored in the second period, and they came back and they just dominated the third period. This team is very good, and it's going to be very dangerous coming to the playoffs. We can't. As far as the Roots are concerned, Dang and I were just talking about it after the game. We don't know how to block the long shot. But the fact of the matter is, once it comes to playoffs, we're going to be a scary freaking team because we score 10 plus goals every single game.
If you can get your defense together, it's going to make a world.
Wait, what's defense?
Yeah, so that's the first problem. No, but and I don't want to talk about the sub in the game, but Alex, we talked about him a little bit. There wasn't a lot he could do on some of those shots, on most of those shots.
Yeah.
You guys gave Mike Bryant a wide open one-timer. Like, I was watching from over deck, and it would have been like one of my plays of the week because it was just so scary. Like, I would watch the whole thing happen like a lion tracking a gazelle in the wilderness. I saw him open. I saw him drifting open. Nobody saw him. All of a sudden, I don't remember who it was, but they looked up and they saw him and they passed him the puck. And he took 2 steps into it. Like, he looked like a batter, like Barry Bonds, lifting his left leg up, getting ready to just crush it. And he just slammed it into the back of the net. And it's like, you guys can't give Mike Bryan a one-timer. Like,
Why not?
Well, apparently,
Well, you
if
can.
That's what
If
goalies
you
do.
really like your face-off percentage, then I guess you want to give him a one-timer so you can then get the puck back when you win the draw on the face-off.
Go me.
But no, I mean,
They destroyed us. They're a great team. They're going places. They're showing the reason why they're a top 3 team. They at a point they were talking about getting out of the top 4, but this is the reason why I think they're a top 3 team and potentially a top 2 team.
Yeah, so I mentioned last week that the biggest thing I see with your team, Pete, and the Roots is your 1-2 combination between you and Austin. And I think NWA, I think NWA kind of either listened to the podcast or figured it out themselves.
Who doesn't listen to the podcast?
Yeah, and then
Jeremy's raising his hand.
I think they stopped that because they didn't see that 1-2 combination with you and Austin
One
last
assist.
night.
1 assist on 11 goals for the Roots.
But at the same time, looking at each one of the games, I just might not be passing enough, but I'm shooting a lot because I feel like we just get down so quickly, and I just
Not to
feel like-
mention a lot of your goals are transition goals. They're
Yeah.
picked off passes
Yeah.
taken the
Yeah.
other way, so
Yeah.
you can't really get an assist on that.
No, and you're scoring a lot, so I wouldn't normally say that passing's an issue because you're scoring plenty. I think it's more of the defense side. Another note for NWA is we spent a lot of time talking about the roots and what went wrong. That whole team just looks so good together.
Yeah.
I wrote down on my notes, Mike and Mike look really good together, and then I was like, well, and Steve, well, and James, and folks at 7 points. You know, like, so I'm like, oh, the whole friggin' team looks awesome together.
Wait,
And-
Folks had 7 points?
Yeah, folks had 4 goals and 3 assists.
That equals 7.
Yeah, you know, for
Carry
those.
on.
Yeah, well, you're doing it wrong. So
Common Core.
the other thing that I actually, the other thing that I said to someone up on the upper deck while I was watching was, "Oh, this is like poetic." That Newberry was playing defense on you because you've been singing his praises in terms of how great he is on defense,
Absolutely.
and he was just like all over you, like he just shutting you down, and it was.
Newberry is the biggest pain in the ass, and I mean that in the best way possible.
And it's relatively clean. Like, I'm a pain in the ass, but I'm
He-
going to
he
probably
honestly-
check you. Kurt's a pain in the ass, but he's going to slash your ankles. But, like,
Kurt slashed me last week, and I was wrecked.
I think one of my favorite things about Newberry is that he stays to watch the best players.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that I understood last night is, and one of my favorite things about Zach is when he gets to the floor, and he does this not just in the YMCA league, but every league that he plays in, and playing with him on Tuesday nights with Paul and all of the top guys in down at the MCC
yeah,
league.
yeah, we get it. You're a big deal.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm really excited about it. They invited me.
You're in the elite.
So
Sweet.
when he flicks up the stick and throws the stick in the air when someone does not have control of it, Newberry started to do that. He did that to me 3 times last night.
Yeah, I saw that.
This guy is understanding it and understanding how to play defense, and this guy's just taking control of it.
Career-wise, most improved player from the beginning of his career to the end.
Yeah, and he's been in quite a few years too.
Yeah. Long career. So, slower. Yeah, right?
You might carry the one on that one with how many seasons he's been in.
So I agree with your 3 stars. I've got Pete, Mike, and Foes as well. Any agreement or disagreement, or is Bonet going 3 for 3? All right, 9:30.
All right, before we move on to 9:30 game, I just want to say that we do give Kenton a lot of shit. And with that being said, for 9:30 we have a Tribe Called Quest with 12 beating Furious 5 with 9. So on the Tribe side, I just made that a joke because we're just going to continue to give Kenton shit. So
I love you, Ken.
Mike Filano, 3 goals, 0 assists. One of those was an empty netter. Jeff Burge, 1 goal, 0 assists.
Yeah.
John, so much determination. Put the team on my strack. John Strachan, 6 goals,
There it is.
0
He's
assists.
slow play, that's
Distracted,
what I know.
distracted.
He's slow play.
Game star. Darren Sharper, hold my dick. Pat C, 0 goals, 2 assists. Kurt B, 2 goals, 0 assists in a penalty minute. Brett Siebert, 55 saves, 86% save percentage, and a game star.
Bad week.
Paul P, for the Furious 5, 5 goals, 1 assist, a penalty minute, and a game star. Jesse T, 2 goals, 0 assists. Gaffey, 2 and 2. Pete Skidmore, 0 and 0. Brad, 0 and 0, and a penalty minute. Tim Scott, 46 saves, 81% save percentage.
Tim, do you want to kick us off on this one since you were in it?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, we got off our game. I mean, you look at the first period, we were kind of in it. Second period, we had a very Sugar Hill period. And the third period, we started
Is
a
that-
comeback.
Is that heavy flow? Does that work again?
But I let in some weak goals. I let in some stuff that I don't normally let in. I had an off week.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, 81%. To me, I thought you played great. You were cutting down a lot of stuff. I thought, I mean, this is the reason that ATCQ is just one of the top teams in the league. The fact that they just keep shooting. And they move the puck around to get shots on net. I mean, the fact that they only had 2 assists on the night, but
Yeah.
they just shoot. They just keep on shooting and then have good passes and going through there. But Jeff is amazing on defense. I
Yeah.
cannot believe he only had 1 goal on the night.
Well, it's because he's
1
amazing
point.
on defense, though. So I said in the preview edition that I can't wait to see Mike versus Paul. I had no idea that the marquee matchup was going to be Jeff versus Paul.
I did. I even said it in the preview.
That's why we keep him
Are you
around.
sure?
Are you sure? Because you didn't listen to it, so.
Carries the one.
Yeah, carry the one. No, and you know what, Tim? Yeah, I think you let in a couple of goals that are atypical for you, but 81%, half the goalies in this league look forward to 81%. So
Yeah.
it's
I
still.
hope for that.
It took our goalie seven or 8 weeks to get there.
And speaking of the preview edition, Zach called almost exactly what Kurt's stat line was going to be. Like, how do you pick like Kurt's stat line? He said he was going to have 2 goals, 1 assist, and Kurt ended up with 2 and 0. So props to Zach on that one.
And Kurt had beautiful shots.
Yeah.
I mean, there was but to be fair, both shots you didn't see. I mean, you were being straight. You did not see.
The one at the freeze never saw it.
Never saw it. There were times. I mean, you were. The puck was already in the net, and you turn around, and you're like, "Are you kidding me? Like, why?" Because every shot you've pretty much seen this year, and that's I think one of the best things about you and your team is that you get yourself set
They
up.
were definitely trying to screen me. Well,
Which is one
well,
of the ways to be.
and that's fine. I don't mind screening, but when I'm in the crease and somebody starts backing up into me, we're gonna have another Sean issue like a couple of years ago.
For those of you who weren't in the league, somebody received a wooden stick between the legs, and not the kind that would be welcomed.
Which one would be welcomed?
Well, all right, not the kind of guy who would welcome a wooden stick between the legs. Either way.
I don't think any guy would.
Yeah.
You know what? So it didn't go well.
It didn't bode
The
well.
gloves were dropped, and it was probably the closest we've ever come pre-Ian to a fight at the line.
So after it was a league, before it was Ian, because there was some pickup stuff that got there, but
Yeah, Tim, I don't. I mean, you talked about letting in a few goals. I thought you played very well last night. The game was just incredible to watch throughout the game.
It was high quality hockey.
Oh my gosh! And we had so much.
Yeah,
Once again-
Brent stood on his head, and that was the biggest difference.
I think you mean he stood on his GoPro.
But yeah.
Well, I think
That's
I
cheating.
want to see the video because I think I hit him pretty close to the GoPro.
Yeah.
And that would have been a goal. I mean, hypothetically speaking,
Well,
we should really.
I had
be-
2 shots on net. One was off his
It's a
helmet,
penalty.
and one I think was off. I think he got his elbow on it. But
If I was in the game, I would have called the penalty.
Brett definitely stood on his head. He was routing Paul. I mean, there was a lot of frustration on the Furious 5 side. Some of it were some calls that may not have gone in your favor, that probably should have gone in your favor. Some of it was Brett robbing you guys blind.
yeah,
And some of it was just the hype. I think some
honestly,
of it was so much hype.
I've never seen Paul get upset over a goalie playing well. He won't. I don't see him doing that. I see him getting frustrated over a call that he didn't think A was a penalty or B should have been called.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, they asked me what they described. I didn't see it, but what they described to me is a penalty. You can't hook somebody's stick and interfere with them with the puck.
But fair enough. That's something that you and I actually talked about the week prior was, hey, listen, if you come down on the stick and you're holding them down
Right.
with your strength, no matter what it is, it's a penalty.
Correct.
And that's the best part about having Tim.
And
even
that's-
though it was you being in the goal and it was
Right,
your
I
teammate.
can't. I'm not going to be the guy that's going to be like, well, if it's going to benefit my team, I'm going to say it's this way.
But
It's
the
not.
problem was, it was definitely a penalty, but that happens 7-8 times a game.
Correct.
And it's never called. And so it was called
Correct.
on him, and it is technically a penalty, and then it
It is a
happened
penalty.
immediately back to him, and it wasn't called.
Right.
And
the crowd booed.
And the crowd booed.
And hold on a second. In Fose's defense, because Fose is the one that called the penalty, he called the correct penalty. Normally, we try. Me personally, I try to give a warning.
Sure.
I'm more of an educational. I try to give you a warning. I try to teach you how to do it.
It's that type of league, though.
But Fose was under the misunderstanding that your stick has to be hooked down,
Vertical.
so the actual blade is over where
Yeah.
it doesn't. It's just any interference with the stick coming down. You can lift the stick up, that no problem.
So I know last year, Commish John and I kind of spoke about that as to how we were going to do it. We did same type of season, 7 or 8 games into the season, and we were sitting there having the same conversation. And I brought up the point: is it a penalty? Yes, but we're halfway, 3/4 of the way through the season. Can we start calling it now without anybody kind of knowing or realizing it? I don't know. Do I fault Fose for calling the penalty? No, because
No.
he was going based off the fact that it was a penalty.
Correct.
But for all the rest that are listening, they're now like, oh, now I got to call that a penalty every time. I think maybe the refs need to kind of real quick get together before.
And that's what we're going to do beginning of the next season.
Yeah,
We're going to try to get a ref clinic together.
Sure.
And it's for everybody, so everybody knows
overall
the
rules clinic.
We do have written rules for this league.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen them. We handed them out 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Mark and I actually did them. We printed them up. We handed them out to all the captains.
We'll make those available to anyone that wants them. Just contact one of us here in the podcast, and we'll make sure we get you a copy. Because I'm going to go get a copy myself. Going back to the game though, it was tough. It was intense. There was, and the crowd was into it. And I think the crowd, it may have played a factor. Some of you may have seen a Facebook comment about, maybe going too far. Personally, when I read that, I got a little defensive at first because I was part of the crowd.
Sure.
And I'm thinking like, well, I don't think we went too far. I mean, we're just like screwing around. And then the more I thought about it, and the more I was, kind of trying to think through what's the mindset and what is the purpose of the league, I can see where the crowd may have flirted with the line a little bit. And I just, the hard part is for anyone out there who's reading it and thinking, okay, grow thicker skin, or it's just hockey or whatever. I just want to read Steve's comment verbatim. I wasn't there, so I can't comment on the actual content. I will say, however, that there's a difference between good-natured ribbing and ragging on someone. And even good-natured ribbing can cross the line when you are frustrated, and that can take a friendly competition and pull the fun out of it. And let's face it, that's why we play this game. And he goes on to say some funny stuff. The point to me is, I think he's right. I think it was good-natured ribbing, first of all. I think the intent was always good-natured. But when you're down there in a close game, in a hyped-up game, in an emotional game, in a game where calls are not going your way, it only feeds that frustration. And so, I think that we have to be respectful and try to empathize a little bit more with the players down there. Now, if that game were held again tomorrow, would I do anything different? Maybe a couple of things. I'm still going to give people a hard time. Like Pete, or in your game, Austin made a great move, scored, and you tried to make a great move and you missed, and I said, hey, you're not Austin. Like, I'm going to still give people a hard time, but we need to empathize a little bit more with the
that
emotions.
note, the difference between that game and our game with Paul, when he said it to you, what'd you do? You looked up to him and you smiled.
Yeah, and you know what? I misread people in your game.
That's exactly
I thought Brad was playing into the crowd. I thought like he was like, with us, and I had no idea he was against us. I had no, and that's on me. I totally misread. I thought we were screwing around. We were all on the same side. I didn't know that this was like eating away at him. And I feel bad about that. I had a hard time sleeping last night. I've been dwelling on it. I don't want anything that I do or any of us to do to take away the fun, because that's why we're here. It's not for the money or the hot ladies, as Steve said.
Whoa. I mean, it's all about the hot ladies. But it's a fun it's a fun thing about this league is that we're all so passionate, and I talked about this in the beginning of the podcast, is that we're all here and we're so passionate about this game. And the fact of the matter is, Furious 5 is an incredible game, and this is something that Bob and I were talking about last night. This was a championship caliber game.
I truly believe these two teams will be playing in the championship.
Hands down, because this is exactly what we expect to see in this league. We have great goaltending on both sides. We have Tim and Brett just battling back and forth, and great shooting on both ends. They're just playing so physically, and maybe the crowd took it a little bit too far, and we understand that. But the fact of the matter is just that we're not trying to bode one way or another. Right. We're cheering for a team on one side of things, and then one team comes back, and then even at the end of the game, when Paul scores 3 goals we were cheering his head off. I mean, we were so excited. We wanted this game to be close. We wanted this game to go to overtime. It was a great game by both teams.
Yeah. And to that, being biased and keeping the stats, or unbiased rather, I'm not booing anybody.
There you have it. The stats are biased.
Biased but unbiased.
No, being unbiased and keeping stats and staying there, obviously I stay out of the game. I'm not going to boo anybody. But from what I noticed and when I'm seeing the boos, nobody in this league thinks Paul's a bad guy. Nobody's booing Paul. Nobody wants Paul to do bad.
I mean,
I feel like the biggest boo that I saw is after the dead puck, when he ripped the puck across the gym at head level.
He apologized for
it. But what I'm saying is they weren't booing him; they're booing the play.
Yeah.
And if anybody did that,
characteristic of him.
Exactly. And no matter who does that, if anybody did that, they're going to get
Joe
booed.
does that, you're getting booed.
You're getting booed.
You're getting booed.
So again, it's not him.
Strachan wouldn't have booed.
No, everyone would have cheered.
I'm gonna try it when I come back.
Yeah, see?
So that's what I'm saying. Like anybody that does that play frustrated, even if you're frustrated and you're throwing your stick after a call, you're going to hear something from the track. That's gonna kind of be like,
From
hey,
the
what do
Strack?
you from the
From
Strack?
the Strack.
You know, and that's I feel like more of what it was, more of that, less of like, oh,
Yeah.
Paul sucks.
Well, and then at the same time, we were booing every time Brad touched the puck because I thought he was playing into it. Totally misread. Totally misread on my part.
He
You know,
kept
because
looking up and he was like, yeah, boo me, boo me. And we're like, all right.
And that's what he wanted, I
Yeah,
guess.
sure.
Like I said, we said before the podcast. My problem is I don't hear anything that goes on around me. I don't hear the stand. I don't
You're
hear
a
people
veteran. You're
upstairs.
so strong.
I'm just. Are you gonna date now or? What's going on?
I'm trying to make up for being a dick.
It's not working.
But I didn't hear any of it. So and then the first I don't have Facebook, so the first I heard about this was today.
Yeah.
I feel bad, and I'm glad that Brad's enough of a teammate to step up and take the heat
Yeah,
off of Paul to try to get Paul back into the game. That's a team player, and that's why I'm glad he's on my team.
Yeah, and you know what? And it's hard enough to hear things on the floor when you're listening. It's hard enough to hear things when you're down on the floor and people are up in the stands. Like, I mean, Chadwick was trying to tell me to turn the music up, and I was like, "What?
So how about
You want to date a duck? Like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah, it's echoing there. It's hard to.
So
Even if you hear noise, it's
I
hard
think
to tell
maybe
what it
even
is.
some of the calls could have like been misperceived, from upstairs, and But one of the things I learned in my management training was it's not the intent, it's the impact and the perception. And we have to keep that in mind. We're going to truly empathize and truly continue to grow as a team. The best league I've ever been a part of in terms of camaraderie and friendship, because everyone is friends. So one part is you need to assume some positive intent, but the other part is you need to empathize with the guys down there on the floor and understand it's the impact and the perception, not just your intent. And so for that, I apologize.
I mean, I've been playing over 30 years. I've been playing hockey over 30 years, and you don't get this kind of camaraderie in an ice hockey league.
No.
Ever.
No. I mean, I don't even get this kind of camaraderie in like my weekend bocce league. I actually was going to say I'm not in a bocce league, but I am. So funny story. Anyway, maybe we'll just keep that for the preview edition. And I'm not just saying this because he's the guy that posted the comment, but I was talking to Gianni about it beforehand, and I wanted to say it anyway. Brad has improved so much as a player, and then upstairs, and he must not have heard this, but Gianni kept yelling down, great pass, because Brad played his ass off this game. He had some great passing and some great looks.
He hustles every game, all game.
Even with Furious 5 losing, I'm probably not going to move them too far in my power ranking, spoiler alert, because they still look really damn
I'm
good.
dropping them to 8.
Yeah, well, Pete would. And,
You're gonna drop them just because I'm not gonna be here for 2 weeks.
And he's going to boo them. What, 2 weeks?
Oh,
It's supposed to be 3, but
are we moving up? Probably not.
Yeah, we're good.
I think I had the same 3 game stars as you, Stratocaster, Brett, and Paul. I will say it was hard to give it to Strachan instead of Mike or Jeff. I mean, easy because he had 6 goals, but hard because, Mike and Jeff didn't have the points, but they made a huge impact on the floor in that game.
And a lady in the stands.
And a lady in the stands, that's got does that count as a point? Is that 3-0-1?
Yeah.
Or something? But,
No, 3 more.
yeah, okay.
It counts as
assist.
automatic assist.
Automatic assist.
Automatic.
That's not true.
I was
so not only
distracted.
did
I was
turn to the
distracted.
crowd, I didn't see the crowd apparently.
No, you
People are
going
gonna start bringing ladies for assists now. What the fuck are you doing?
I actually.
What are you doing to me?
Paul has actually 6 assists.
Is there an age limit?
Oh,
Okay, so
Excuse me.
hold on.
He's asking for it, Austin.
I
Come
only
on.
asked because Austin brought one, and I'm not sure if she meets the requirements.
Did he get one?
All right, that's true. Austin should get one.
He got
You
an
need to.
assist.
Any other disagreement on the game stars for that game?
Nope.
I'm good.
All right, 3 stars of the week.
I have Zach Davis, Mike Bryant, Brett Sieverts.
I'm gonna swap out one on mine. Not that they matter because they don't count for anything. I had Mike Bryan as my 4th, and I had him in at first, and I crossed him out. I put in Ramsey. I really think Ramsey's the reason they won that game. I mean, obviously Zach had a huge part with 9 points, but Ramsey. God, I really think that he won that game. I think he played his ass off, and I'm a recovering goalie, so I'm going to give two goalies game stars.
I tend to agree with you. Only because I'm a goalie, and in that case, have to stick together.
Yeah, nothing against Mike Bryant, but I feel like his team played really, really well, and I guess Ramsey did too. Well, I'm not helping myself. Ramsey president, 2016.
2016.
Anyone else for game or week stars?
No, I agree with.
You agree with Bryant instead of Ramsey?
Yeah.
You're a floor player. All right, plays of the week.
All right, I'll start. I had a play of the week that not a lot of people were there to see. It was in game 1. Gianni takes the puck down, dekes between a couple of defenders.
Yeah.
Last minute, dishes it right over to Kevin Parker, who buries it for a goal.
And this was the fun part about this week is that Gianni made that play, which was freaking incredible. And then what was the next game? The next game was
Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang Clan. Joe made an incredible. Oh, no, excuse me. Zach made an incredible play.
It wasn't Joe. No offense, Joe, but
Deeks down across everyone, makes a backhand, and there was actually one play where Alex actually makes a save, but the puck is lying right in front of him, and Zach comes down and backhands it in the back of the net. But I mean, there were so many top plays this week, but to me, the Gianni play was just absolutely incredible, breaking through. I think actually all three defenders and then backhanding it. It was an amazing week for top plays.
The only thing we forgot to mention was Joe's tooth.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
He had a little bit of jealousy.
Yeah.
And so he had to go get his tooth chipped.
And you know, the tooth and the hat, maybe that's the magic. Like, is it going to be Solomon's hair? Or not Solomon, Samson. Samson the top of Samson. My play of the week was Austin on a breakaway, just geeks through, turns Conco into an absolute pretzel, and just scores. And, like, immediately, Conco, I don't even think he looked in the back of the net. Immediately, Conco dropped his stick and started to clap. Because it was just so pretty. I mean, it was such a great play with Austin running down there.
Yeah, I agree with Austin's play.
Awesome.
It was game of the week and play of the week.
I'll give two quick sub plays of the week just because we didn't have a lot of diversity. Alex in his sub game had an amazing kick save. I think it was, I don't remember who it was, but someone on one side of the net passed all the way across the other side of the net. Everyone thought it went in. It was a good shot right on net, and he just sticks his foot out there and stops it. The problem was the rebound ended up going in, but it would have been my play of the week if the rebound didn't go in because he's so agile. You kind of forget about
Is that the qualification?
Being agile.
Yes, I would have had one too then.
Yeah. And then another one was Gaffey. You know, we give Furious 5 a lot of grief about not passing. He had an amazing 2-on-1. He's coming down. He's looking down at the puck as he always does. And I don't think he even sees the guy next to him. I think it was Jesse.
Jesse, yeah.
And so Jesse's running the outlet. The defender's kind of in the middle, playing well in the middle, cheating toward Gaffey because he doesn't think Gaffey sees him either. And just a no-look pass straight to Jesse. Jesse buries it. It was real pretty. A couple of awards. The Broken Face of the Week award, sponsored by Breathe Right Strips, goes to Gaffey for getting hit in the nose. The Entourage award, sponsored by HBO, goes to Austin Bull for bringing two different people. Small little entourage there. The Slasher award, sponsored by Friday the 13th, goes to Kurt for taking Brad out almost with a vicious slash and apparently hitting Tim Scott also.
No, that was week before.
That was, delayed award there, like a delayed penalty that he should have got. The Jan Brady Middle Child Syndrome still was a Sugar Hill gang. Even with the win, they still lost the second period. But the Monkey Off Your Back award, sponsored by Seneca Park Zoo, also was a Sugar Hill gang.
And I had one as well.
Yeah, Jeremy, you got one too.
So the Rick Ross Every Day I'm Hustling award, sponsored by the Maybach Music Group, goes to Jeff Burge, who totally ran down Jesse Trado from the other side of the gym to sprawl out, get a stick just in time to block the shot on Jesse. It was one of the craziest.
Well, I think he had a pretty much open net.
Pretty much wide open net.
Just nothing.
Probably a contender for play of the week, honestly, with that, but we'll give him an award instead.
Yeah, there you go. Give him an award instead of play of the week. And then the proactive breakout performance of the week goes to Dave Post. 4 goals, 3 assists. Just amazing.
Wait, he had 4 goals and 3 assists?
Yeah.
Who was he playing?
And a Rebel Yell of bologna sandwich.
Yeah, I really thought it was like bologna sandwich. Maybe he did it just to screw with him.
He was yelling mashed potatoes at one point from the bench. So.
Yeah, well, he did that on purpose. I actually heard mashed
Who was he
potatoes.
playing?
All right. Well, we're running short on time here. Pete, was your question a short one or not?
No, it's a long one.
All right. Mine was a long one too, so I'll just go with it. ESPN 7 picks up the YMCA floor hockey league.
Mm-hmm.
So who would you guys choose as the hosts for the broadcast, your play-by-play and your color commentary? One rule though, can't be anyone here around this table or normally on the Circle of Jerks. You can pick guests who've been on the Circle of Jerks, but not the normal Circle of Jerks.
They wouldn't hear you on the mic anyway.
They wouldn't hear So who would you pick for your play-by-play guy, your color commentary, and then if we have time, maybe you can talk about your camera operators, sideline reporters, producers.
See, to me, when we're going into this game, is that Steve Schultz actually made a comment last week about knowing your rookies, and this guy is obviously CEO, so he knows all of the
CTO.
CEO. or something.
He was the founder of the company.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
the founder of
but,
the company, so I'm going to call
He
him
went from
CEO.
one
So,
person to like
whatever,
56
CFO, CKO, C Awesomeo. I mean, Steve Schultz is just an awesome guy, and I think he would be really great as a play-by-play commentary because I think he would know everything about the players on the field. So, Steve Schultz is my guy to go with. Now, the color commentary, you gotta go with Steve Newberry. I mean, this guy just knows the ins and outs of every player on the field simply because he comes up to the stands every single week and sees every game. I mean, he's studying the players. Now, he might not have a lot to comment about, but the fact of the matter is he's seeing the games and he's understanding it, and then he's going to go out and do the same thing that is their best attributes. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm gonna go play-by-play announcer is gonna be Dave Foss. If
He's just gonna yell.
No. If you don't know this about Foss, he does probably the best sports broadcaster impression that I've heard. So if you talk to him, you make him do it. I think at one point he wanted to do like a comedy movie about like a sports broadcaster.
We should have him here.
Yeah. So that's my play-by-play, and then I think the host, I'm gonna go with Brett Siebert because I'm really interested to see what his voice sounds like.
Wait, does he talk at all?
No, I think he destroys worlds if he talks.
Good point.
I'm gonna go for the host. I think I'm gonna have to go with. I just blanked out. I'm gonna have to go with. Let's see here. Hold on.
This is gonna be a good one.
Man, this is gonna be terrible right now.
No, it's good. It's good.
I'm gonna go with Foles for color commentary first of all, just to piggyback anyway. Only because
He's
I don't
still
know.
my color guy.
I don't know his voice, but
It's
if
good.
he yells out "bologna sandwich" every time a goal gets scored, it would be worth it.
Oh, that'd go viral. It's a bologna sandwich.
And let's see here. What am I looking for here? This is a little tougher than I thought.
Yeah, the questions that they pack quite a punch.
I'm gonna go Joe Gant. The fabulous hair.
Oh, great.
The handsome
Really
grill
nice.
now.
Yeah, this is video. We are talking about video.
Yeah, you gotta go. Your front man's gotta have the grill. He's gotta have the hair. That's what I'm going with. And those are my two.
Nice.
My play-by-play guy is gonna be Kevin Parker. I think that the guy, he can talk fast. He sees what's happening around him.
Yeah.
I think he can describe, what's going on. And I think him and Chris Lally would make quite a team. Chris Lally being the color
that's
commentary.
beautiful.
Yeah, so Chris is like, he's filling in some stories. He's got some things to say about the people and everything. I don't think he'd be as good as the bologna sandwich chant, but I think he'd hold up well. But what's going to make this team is that John Ramsey's going to be down on the sideline as a sideline reporter, because he knows sports, he knows hockey. You got Pete Skidmore running the music, Gafe Zato is your technical producer, and Pat Cousineau running the cameras because I think he actually does that.
He does.
Yeah, so he'll be our camera guy. He'll be reporting up to Gafe, who's kind of producing all the technical stuff, and then Pete Skidmore's circle of Turks.
That must be the benefit of making up the question that you have all fucking day.
Honest to God, did not think about any of it until I asked. Did you see me writing it down? Look, I even crossed out Dave Foss because I had him for color.
That was the bait and switch.
You know what? You guys don't trust me, nor should you.
Here
But,
comes Ferngully. Ferngully is going to redeem you right now.
No pressure.
So I'm going to go with Pete Skidmore, just because based on the Circle of Jerks music in the beginning, he's got the voice
Yeah.
to be the color commentator.
Oh, yeah.
And then the man between the glass that we'll go to every once in a while is going to be Ian. He just likes to be in the middle of everything.
And he's already in the penalty box.
Yeah.
So he's already there. It should be fun.
So I want to kind of go back. We say this in jest and in joking, and we talked about the razzing of the fourth game, the 9:30 game, and all this. I'll say, the first time when the podcast was sent and Jeremy said Fern Gully, I took that as like, okay, do I take that as like, oh, it's a slap in the face, or is it? And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. It's a fun league. Like we razz pretty much everybody, but we do it in good fun and in good sport. So everybody listen to these. As much as we're saying this league's going into the right direction, which it is, it's still in the fun aspect. So as much as we say things or do things and all that kind of stuff in these podcasts or in the games, we're doing it in good fun. So try to take that for what it's worth. And just so you know, I just received a message from Tim Scott, who wasn't there for the third period, or excuse me, Tim Anderson, who wasn't there for the.
It felt like I wasn't there for the third period.
Tim Anderson, who wasn't there for the 9:30 game, but he apologizes for any insight he might have started by not being there.
But he wants you to know he didn't mean it.
Yeah, he didn't mean it.
Oh, sorry.
With that being said, I hate all of you. And if you're offended, write it on a brick and throw it through Pete R's window.
Thank you.
In all seriousness, keep the rebuttals coming in the comment section. Don't forget to post your award nominations in the comment section. Thank you for listening to the Week 8 recap edition. I hope it's an addiction. You gotta get a methadone clinic.
That's a Freudian slip right there.
Yeah, I'm addicted to it. Is it Wednesday yet?